when life doesn't play by the same rules that you play by. Kindness alone won't save you. Niceness certainly won't shield you. That's where strength, true but controlled strength, comes in. Let me explain something to you. Strength doesn't mean aggression. It's not about walking around with your chest puffed out, forcing the world to respect you. That's not power. That's insecurity. You see, real strength is quiet. It's calm. It's the ability to be dangerous without being reckless. To have power without the need to flaunt it. That's what makes you effective. That's what makes you reliable. And to be honest, it took me a while to learn this. Like, just because I can doesn't mean that I should. Now, this might sound strange at first, but being harmless is not a virtue. It's a weakness. If all you can do is avoid conflict, but you have no capacity to defend yourself or those around you, you're not virtuous. You're weak. And the world is not kind to the weak. But here's the twist. When you build strength, when you develop the capacity to act, but choose not to unless it's necessary, that's where virtue lives. That's where respect begins. Think about it like this. A blade is sharp because it's meant to cut, but it's the sheath that keeps it safe. Without the sheath, the blade is dangerous to everything it touches. But without the blade, the sheath is useless. The balance of the two is what makes the weapon effective. You've got to sharpen your blade. That's your mind, your body, and your resolve. But you've also got to learn when to use it and when to hold back. It's about understanding your potential and focusing it responsibly. You see, strength without control is chaos. Control without strength is weakness. But the two together, that's where you can become unshakable. That's where you become the kind of person who can stand in the storm and say, I've got this. So here's the takeaway. Don't fear your strength. Develop it, hone it, and learn to control it. Not to suppress it, but to master it. Because when you do, you don't just become strong, you become someone others can count on. And that, my friend, is power. So now you understand this. Strength isn't about domination or cruelty. It's about control. But let's take this deeper. What does it mean to actually control your strength? What does that look like in real life? Because we're not just talking about physical power here. We're talking about mental strength, emotional resilience, the ability to hold your ground when life tries to knock you down. So let me tell you a quick story. The story of Samson, one of the strongest men ever written about. His strength was legendary. He could tear down entire gates, slay armies, and accomplish what no one else could. But here's the thing. Samson had no control over his strength. He let his emotions, his anger, his pride, his desires guide his actions. And what happened? His strength became his downfall. He trusted the wrong people, made impulsive decisions, and lost everything. Samson is the perfect example of what happens when strength goes unchecked. Power without discipline destroys you. You might win battles in the moment, but in the long run, you lose the war. And that's why control matters. It's not enough to be strong. You have to know when to act, when to hold back, and when to walk away. That's real strength. That's what turns raw power into purpose. Think of it like driving a car. If you're careless behind the wheel, you are dangerous. And not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. But if you are focused, if you are intentional, that same car becomes a tool of incredible potential. It can take you anywhere you want to go. Your strength is no different. You have to be behind the wheel at all times. Focused, disciplined, in control. Because the moment you take your hands off, that's when you crash. So here's the second takeaway. Don't let your strength control you. Take the wheel. Be deliberate with your power. Understand it. Respect it. And when the time comes to use it wisely. Because strength without control is destruction. But strength mastered, that's the foundation of greatness. Strength without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. It might be powerful, but it has no direction. It's the same in life. If you are strong, but you don't know why you are strong or what you are fighting for, then what's the point? And that's where purpose comes in. Purpose gives your strength meaning. It gives you a reason to endure the fire and keep moving forward. Think about the phoenix, that fiery bird from mythology. Its life doesn't end when it burns, it begins. The fire that destroys it also transforms it, and that's what resilience looks like. The flames in your life, the setbacks, the pain, the moments where you feel like you've lost everything, and believe me, I've been there, they don't have to be the end of you. They can be the start of something new. They can rebuild you stronger, sharper, and more focused than ever. But here's the catch. Fire doesn't transform everyone. Some people stay in the ashes. They lose themselves in the pain and never rise again. Why? Because they don't have a purpose pulling them forward. They don't see the lesson in the setback, the opportunity or opportunities in the failure. Resilience isn't about surviving the fire. It's about choosing to rise from it with a clear direction. So here's what I want you to remember. Every setback, every failure, every ounce of pain, it's all fuel. It's fuel for your purpose, but you have to use it. You have to decide that no matter how many times you fall, you're going to rise again. Not just because you can, but because there's something worth rising for. That's what resilience is all about. That's how you turn your strength into greatness. And here's the third takeaway. Don't just endure the fire. Embrace it. Let it refine you. Let it shape you into someone who's not just strong, but purposeful. Because when strength is paired with resilience and guided by purpose, it's no longer just strength. It's unstoppable. We've talked about strength, we've talked about control, we've talked about purpose and resilience. But let's bring it all together, because strength without virtue is empty. Real strength isn't just about what you can do. It's about how you choose to use it. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think strength is about power over others. But the truth is, real strength is about lifting others. It's about being someone the world can rely on. Think about this. A truly virtuous person isn't weak. They are not harmless. They have the ability to fight, to stand their ground, to face the storm, and yet they choose their battles wisely. That's what makes them reliable. That's what makes them strong. And that's what makes them good. Virtue isn't born out of weakness. It's born out of controlled strength, guided by purpose. The world needs more people like this. People who don't crumble under pressure. People who don't misuse their power. People who stand tall even when it's hard, and choose to be a force for good. And here's the thing, it's not easy. Becoming virtuous, becoming someone others can count on, requires discipline. It requires facing your fears, owning your failures, and committing to something bigger than yourself. So here's the final takeaway. Strength isn't the end goal, it's the foundation. Build it, control it, guide it with purpose, and then use it to create something bigger than yourself. That's how you become virtuous. That's how you leave a legacy. And that's how you truly make your strength matter. Because at the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who dominate. They are the ones who uplift. Be that person. Be the one who's strong enough to make a difference. Perform or perish.